Okay, now it's time to make the damaging mechanics for our player when the enemy attacks us. And obviously, we don't have any kind of player health mechanics and player health system just yet. But what we can do so far, we can detect the collision when the enemy attacks our player. And then when we will have the player health system, we'll add that player health to that mechanic. Now, to detect the collision when our enemy attacks and to detect the attacking, uh, what we need to do, we need to create few things. You remember with our rifle, we created the fire point, which is fire position from where we are firing the bullets. We should do similar thing with the enemy. We will have some point, and this will be our enemy's attacking point, and also it will have some range, and that range will check the collision with the player, because the player has the collider. He has character controller, which comes with the collider. That's the one point. So let's create empty game object in the enemy. Create empty, and let's call this one attack point. And well, what I will do, I will just drag this attack point in front of the enemy, a little bit on the right side from where our enemy is attacking, just like the here. I will show you from all of the directions. So it's in front of the enemy, basically. And this will be our attack point, and as I said, it will have some radius, and I will show you radius so you will see it with your eyes. Okay, next thing will be to add some layer, to create some layer for the player, because we will need it in the script. So let's select player, let's go in the layers, let's hit add layer, and let's say player here. And well, we will assign our player layer to the player game object, and yes, change children, we should click, and that's pretty much it. Now we can create another C# script. I already created one. I called it enemy combat. You can call it same as me as well, and just make sure to assign the script to your enemy. So just drag and drop it in your enemy game object, and well, I have here already. And also last thing will be to add some collider to the enemy, because anyway we will need to have collider for the enemy. So let's select enemy, let's hit add component, let's go in physics, and let's choose capsule collider. Well, this collider is very small and half of it is in the ground, so we should adjust it. Well, we can adjust the positions from this X, Y, and Z. Let's drag Y little bit up, so that end of the collider should be at the feet of the enemy, basically. Also, let's make height to be bigger, just like this. Again, let's drag up, just like this. Let's make radius to be a little bit bigger. And yeah, I think it's all right, and it will do job for now. And don't worry about it too much. Just try your best to match the size of the of your enemy, and also make sure that at end of the collider is at the feet of the enemy. I think we can also take it a little bit up, just like this. Okay, all right. Now let's open our enemy combat script, and let's start working on it. Well, we will need few variables. We will need reference for the attack point, so public transform. Let's call this one attack point. Also, we will need float, public float, for the radius. As I said, we will need some radius. Also, we will need reference for the layers which we created for the player layer. So public layer mask, let's call this one player layer. Well, we don't need start, and in the update we're gonna use one method which will help us to detect the collision from the attack point to the player, and this method is called physics dot overlap sphere. Quite handy method, and in order this to work, it needs to have few parameters. First, it needs to know from where we are checking it, so what position we are having. Well, we want to check from the attack point, so we will say attack point dot position. Then it needs to know radius, so attack radius, and layers, so comma player layer. Okay. Also, since we will have lots of enemies in the game, what we will do, we will create a container to store information about them, and we will store information about their colliders, and also we will create array, which means that we'll have some list of enemies, and to create that we will say collider, then array sign, so list sign, and let's call this one hit enemies, and it will be equal this. So we are storing information about this detection in this container with the name of hit enemies, and now we can use loop. Well, there are a few loops in the C#, and we're gonna use for each loop. And for each loop needs few things in order to work. Well, first of all, we need to say collider. Then we will need one placeholder. For example, let's call this one enemy in, and we should say name of what we are checking. Well, we are checking hit enemies variable, so we will say hit enemies. So we are basically saying that check hit enemies and just find all the enemies, enemy colliders, and well, we will do the player health and damaging mechanics here after we will have the player help system. But just to check if everything is working, let's use debug menu, so debug.log, and when our enemy hits the player, if everything is working, we should get some message. For example, player is damaged, and just to see it visually, see all of these radiuses and the sphere that we are making, what we can do after our update, we can use special method which is on draw gizmos. So let's say void on draw gizmos selected, and well, we should say here gizmos dot draw wire sphere, and in the brackets we should say from where to where draw our sphere. We want to draw from the attack point dot position to the attack radius, and this will help us to visually see our sphere, and you will see right very shortly. So let's save the script and let's go back. Well, we should select the enemy and let's scroll down. We should assign attack point, so let's drag attack point right here. We will assign player layer to be player. It's also very important. And now when we change attack radius, so let's say 1, you will see this white sphere. This is basically the radius of the detection, and it's quite large right now, so I will make 0.5 to have small range. And well, we can always change this size of the sphere, but the main point is that we have the sphere which can detect the collision with the player. So let's check. I will open the console view and let's see if we are getting, oh, we are getting the information about the distance. So I will go in the enemy controller, and here we have the debug.log distance. We don't need it anymore, so I will just comment it out, so it will be not called anymore. It will be just like comment. And now let's check. Let's go in console, and yeah, when the enemy is attacking us, we get this message that the player is damaged, which is quite fine. We might work on it in the later stages as well, make it a little bit more precise, but for now everything is indeed working. And now we have collider on the enemy, so we can hit the bullets to it. Of course, nothing is really happening right now, but yeah,